Well, that sure made me happy. Hey y'all, APG Jamie here. And I'm happy you're here too. So we're going to do some recycle, upcycle of some return envelopes, window portions. Okay? You can save the other part for something else another time, or you can put it in the recycle bin because I only wanted the envelope window, y'all. We're going to start off doing collage. Now, just to be up front, I'm making 2 of these, one at a time, okay? It is a sped up video, but it is not in hyperspeed, okay? You will see plenty of inking. No worries there. We're going to do some collaging with scraps. You know, I got a pile of them. Hell, y'all, I think they multiply over the weekend. I don't know what goes on out there. Desk scraps, Happy Meals, pieces, bits, and bots, and bobs. I don't know, bobs, bots, bits. And I'm using fluid matte medium. A good friend of mine, Tanya McGuire, y'all may know her. She makes her own type of fluid matte medium by using Mod Podge matte, some Elmer's all-purpose glue, you know, the all-purpose glue, and a bit of water, okay? You use whatever kind of adhesive you like to use, okay? This envelope I left all together as I'm collaging it, but we will take care of that a little bit, and a little bit. Now, I'm also going to tell you, which I may have told y'all before, probably during a live would be more likely, that at a local charity shop, Angelic Resale even, I bought a humongous box of windowed envelopes, similar to this, not exactly like this. It's the kind you mail bills in, not the kind you return payments in. Anyway, I got a box of 500 for like $3, maybe $4. So how could you not get that? Because, you know, I may never need to buy any kind of envelope again. It's like 500 of them. Plus, I already had some regular ones. You know how you get them when you need to get them because you got to mail. You don't got to mail, but you mail Happy Mail. Happy Mail, mail. I guess your word of the day is mail. M-A-I-L, not M-A-L-E. Because, you know, sometimes I need to spell things for clarification. That's a real word. So we are collaging on just little bits, and I decided to tear the edges. And then at some point, I will probably be cutting the edges because, you know, I just can't seem to never stay on the same wavelength sometimes. And from time to time, you will probably see me wiping my desktop off. That's silicone mat with a baby wipe because, you know, sometimes when you're using fluid matte medium, you want to try to keep your area tidy, you know, transfer and goobers and all that stuff. And here's a fair warning. I don't know when it started to happen, okay? But my camera was, it was doing that autofocus, even though autofocus is turned off. I don't know where that comes from, okay? It seems to be doing it more and more. Maybe my camera's getting old. IDK. Anywho, you will see my camera slipping. You may not actually see it slipping or notice it slipping, but from time to time it will be not quite the way it was. I don't know how to say. It did not actually fall, but I guess it's time to re-adhere that to my yardstick. Okay? Just saying. So it's not you if you should happen to see the screen moving. You'll be like, oh my God, what's going on? I feel dizzy. It's not you. It's me. Not me, it's the camera. So, collaging along. And because this is in speed version, but not hyper speed, it's a longer video. Not an hour. No, not an hour. Probably close. So sometimes I wait for it to be almost dry before I trim it. I do recommend you wait till it's dry to trim it, because when paper gets damp, it tends to be a little damp, harder to cut, stretches, twist around, goobers up on you even. So I got these ephemera bits that I got from an Etsy store, Lucid Lizard Jewelry, I believe. The link will be in the description below the video, along with a partial list of ingredients, because I used ephemera bits, and they were probably, other than the mushrooms, were probably Tim Holtz stuff, okay? Which you probably recognize. Now that's the marked glitter glue I put in a little bottle. Thanks, secret internet admirer. And it is pretty hard to squeeze out of that little bottle, because, you know, Aleene's is a little thick. Just saying. So, but I also use art glitter glue, which y'all know that, since it's my second favorite. And I don't, because I'm leaving these as sort of oh my gosh. I'm going to be using these sort of like charms. Well, actually, I guess they are charms. Dangly bits even. I didn't want that white background on there, so I just peeled that from the quote chip and stuck on some of that same little scrap paper right there. Time to paint the paper dolls. Now, y'all know I use watercolor markers. Okay. Now, I say it every time, and this will be no different. The paper dolls and other Tim Holtz products tend to have a semi-shine, a glossy, like, well, it's not glossy, but you know, a sealed surface. That's it, a sealed surface. So when you use watercolor stuff on there, it doesn't dry because it doesn't absorb in there. You gotta wait. It takes a long time, okay? So, and it will leave fingerprints and smoosh around and everything else. Now, it will eventually dry and it will stain. So if you make a bobo, you can kind of erase it, but it might stain, all right, a little bit. Now, I'm just using a piece of that scrap envelope over there to dabble up some of the dampness from the marker. For me, I've discovered that seems to work pretty well, okay? It's still not dry, so still be careful, y'all. And from time to time, my hands disappear. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know. Could be talking to a dog. Could be scratching my nose. I don't know. And pretty happy with them. Heat gun, y'all. Do not use your heat gun on drawing the collage on your windowed envelopes. It will melt the window. Trust me. Okay? Trust me on that. Now, if you have a blow dryer or a cool, cold setting on your heat gun, because maybe you do, you could do that. Or if you do like me sometimes, you just toss it over there on your keyboard, which is plenty warm enough, and it has a very slight breeze, you know, when the fan kicks on, your CPU fan, whatever they call those these days, processor fan. It will somewhat dry it, but not melt it. Okay, but then your keyboard gets all icky. Trust me on that. So, I want to cover up the blue and white stripes inside the envelope, so I'm just using a piece of scrap. It's not exactly full coverage back there, y'all. But the paper doll, when we put him on there, he will cover up that slight little tiny gap. Okay? Now, here's a mistake. When you're gluing your pocket together, we're making windowed pockets, okay? When you're gluing your edges together, don't come around the rounded corner. All right, just do a top and a bottom, you know, excuse me, a side, whatever. Because you don't want to. Y'all got to do a lot of trusting on this one, y'all. Yeah, we will deal with that later. Okay, like, yeah, it's so cute. It's pretty much exactly what I wanted until you drop it on there and you get glue all over your thing, and then you're like, got glue all over it, and you're like, oh man. Such is the life of a wet gluer. Okay, glue him on there. I didn't ink around him. Did I dabble around ink around the mushroom? I don't know. Don't remember. Wasn't paying attention. Just talking, chit-chatting. You know how it is. So I had this little label. It was laying there on the desk. I'm like, okay. I'm pretty sure it's a Tim label anyway. Don't no matter. Use what you got. And because I'm putting dangles on here, I'm going to use my crocodile, handheld crocodile, to poke a hole in there. Then I had to go get an eyelet. And it was a yellow one. It's the one I grabbed, y'all. Okay, I got all my little tiny colored ones all in the same little doolaller. And sometimes I don't pay attention. I just grab them. Anyway, we'll just touch some little brown acrylic ink on there, and it will be perfectly A-okay. So that's what we did. And now we're going to have to heat gun that dry. Don't touch these things when you use heat gun on them, y'all. On account of they get hot. They're metal, aluminum, I don't know, some kind of metallic stuff. I don't know what it is, y'all. Anyway, now we're going to put that in there. It only takes a second for it to cool off. I'm going to squish it. I've been doing better at getting my eyelets squished. I'm not been having to bam them so much anymore. I guess I'm finally getting the hang of it. Who knew it took so much practice, right? So that's our little chippy thing. And excuse me. Poke our hole in that. Now that faux stamp there, I got in a swap. I used to do swaps with a swap group on Facebook. I'm no longer in the group because it's just like, y'all just keep trading stuff for more stuff, which is fun. Okay, you know, then postage kept going up, and I'm like, yeah, well, you know, I have plenty of stuff. I got plenty of stuff, y'all. So I thought, yeah, we're gonna do that. And I put my bulb, aka or FKA, formerly known as garment pin, on there. I wasn't real happy about the way it was hanging, so I thought I would put a jump ring on it. Now these are jump rings made by me, where you just take a wire and you roll it around, or you twist it around a marker barrel or something round. Okay, if you want it round, you know, and then you squish it down like a spring. Excuse me, y'all. And then you just slide it off your barrel, and then you just clip a ring as you need a ring. Okay, so it's not the best heaviest, dutiest, sturdiest jump ring. Okay, but I figure it'll do for me at this time anyway. So now we're going to and then I slip the bulb ring through that, and it lays on there, it dangles on there much better in my opinion. Okay, I thought, well, we need to put something in the little pocket, because yeah, we're making windowed pockets. You can do much fancier stuff. Okay, y'all. Now here's the problem with gluing around the corner like I did. It's hard to get stuff in and out when you do that, so don't do that unless you truly want to. Okay. So getting that all situated down there, and I was just going to make a simple little tag to put in there. And I thought, well, you know, I have to put floofles on tags for the most part. And I thought, well, we will just make a folio. A folio is a piece of paper folded over. That's folio. Okay. When you put more than one together, it's a signature. Okay. Okay. So we're inking around. I told you, there's a lot of plenty of inking in this one. And then this is probably one of those free artist papers because it's got words on that back side. And I'm like, well, I need to cover that up. I want to cover that up. I didn't have to, but I want to. So we're just going to put some glues on that particular side of the folio. And then we're going to glue down that piece of scrap. It looks like, the ledger, modern ledger type accounting paper stuff. And I think it was one I did in the hibiscus dye way back whenever we did that. Y'all know it's just been ages ago. Well, maybe not ages. It's been a while. Been a long minute. We're going to ink that too. Now I've already picked out another piece of ephemera, which is laying upside down there on the right by the fancy tweezers, and we're going to put that on there. I don't think I inked around it, so I got to do a little side gluing right there, and we will just glue that floral image on that side, on the right. Oh, I couldn't decide. And this makes a journaling spot. If you should happen to do journaling, it is not a requirement in an art journal. It's not. You can make these little journaling spots and never journal on them. That is perfectly okay. It is. So now we're going to ink that side too. But you can journal if you want to. You can put little pictures in there, little receipt. They'd have to be a pretty little receipt. Couldn't be no Hobby Lobby clearance shopping receipt, I'll tell you that. I'm like, oh, it's perfect. Look at that. It's perfect. Kind of hard to get in and out. Yeah, I like how that little charm is swinging over there now. So I grabbed this little piece of scrap music paper, cut it down to about what I wanted for a tab. You can make them out of anything. Gluing two sides together there, okay, and then we're going to round some of the corners. Wished I'd have rounded all the corners, but I only did two. Gonna ink it. That's important today. Maybe not tomorrow. So, as you can see, I sometimes ink going counterclockwise, but typically I go clockwise. And I'm going to glue it to the fold side, okay? Which can work. I will open it up to make sure that it works, and it worked. You can glue it to one of the open edges if you like. You don't have to do a tab at all. So here's our second one, okay? This one is going to be sort of the same, but put together differently. Now I decided to glue the flap shut. Can't find my glue. There's some glue. I don't know where my other little bottle of glue went. It's somewhere. So I'm gluing that together, which was not necessary because I will cut that off. Spoiler alert. It will be removed. There, I took off just a teeny tiny sliver to open up that edge of the envelope, depending on how you pronounce it. I pronounce it typically envelope. Okay? I don't know. See, now it opens up. This is the part that was kind of catching on the other one. So I'm like, oh, I saw that. And I'm taking it off because it's not necessary. It's not needed. I'm like, yeah. So now we're going to collage on this one, open and flat. And again, I'm just reaching over in the pile. I got a pile of stuff. Y'all know I get out way more stuff than I need. Okay? But so it goes. Okay. Still using our fluid matte medium. Be careful not to get too much fluid matte medium, if any, on your little window, because it can be kind of hard to remove. Any glue can be kind of hard to remove off that. I don't know what's up with that. You don't have a window envelope? You can make a window. You don't have that cellophane stuff? You can try wax paper. They're all going to be different translucencies, okay? Got a piece of acetate? Maybe you could use that from some packaging. A cereal or cracker liner, those work too. So I have no particular theme on these things, y'all. I'm just grabbing thing and theme. That's so funny, y'all. It's funny. So grabbed a piece of map because I'm like, yeah, tired of looking at it. Use it. Tired of looking at it. Use it or send it to someone else. Say, here, have some of my trash. Sometimes it can be fun to trade trash. And I think it's even funny when you send stuff to somebody and they send their, scrappy trash to you and you traded some of the exact same papers. That's so funny. I think it's funny. It's funny for me anyway. So, the thing about the fluid map medium, and I learned this from Dee Dee Willingham, Coffee and Art in the Morning, InkyWell, is you put your fluid map medium on the surface you're going to adhere to. Then you put it on the back of the paper you're going to stick onto it. You smash it down on there, remove as good of air bubbles as you can get out. And then you put a light coat on top. Okay? So, I like to do it like that. Now, fluid map medium does work for like a lightweight cardstock or scrapbook paper. Sometimes you want a little heavier of adhesion, okay, for the heavier stuff. Just saying, because, that. Okay, sticking all our little papers down. Oh, you got teensy tiny scraps. You could use teensy tiny scraps too. I'm trimming it off. It's mostly dry. And not 100%, but it was mostly dry. Okay? Yeah. So we're trimming that off. I think those bits made it into the recycling bin. Yeah, pretty confident about that. Like I said, every once in a while, wipe your desk off. I don't know when the camera starts moving, but you might have noticed it has already scooched over. It's like, what is going on? I don't know. I think I moved it a total of 3 times. So I really, that's what I should be doing right now, is I should be out there fixing my camera. I don't know if y'all caught any of that, but other than that, a big old giant sneeze. I've said it before and I'll say it right now. I sneeze like they do in cartoons. Chew. I always think that's funny. They say, whoever they are, scientists, doctors, people who collect money to study things that really doesn't matter, okay? That the number of times you sneeze in a row is inherited. Just saying. One of my parents sneezed once, and one would sneeze twice. So I generally sneeze once, and every once in a while, I'll sneeze twice. So I worked with this lady. Kay was her name. And she sneezed like a chihuahua. Chew, 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 chew. Ah! They're not funny. It was funny. Everybody always laughed all the time. Well, not all the time. Of course, everyone said bless you. Back in those days, people said bless you to someone else, even strangers, when they sneezed. Since the wearing of the masks days, people don't do that anymore. And I'm saying that from my experience out there in the public. The few times that I have sneezed out in public, of course I sneeze in my arm anyway, in my armpit, elbow, kind of thing. I don't sneeze in my hands because now I'm going to be touching an ink pen or elevator button or doorknob. So, anyway, it's not a sneezing lesson video. So, and the last 3 times that I sneezed in public, no one said bless you. Even when I was in a waiting room full of older people, and when I say older people, they had gray and or white hair or balding, okay? Now you would think they would say it. Maybe not the younger peoples, born in the 2000s, but the 1900s, you would expect them to say it, but they didn't. Not a one of them. Anyway, that's judgment on my part, isn't it? Sorry. That's just how it goes sometimes. Anyway, and I know all of y'all are saying, oh, bless you, bless you. I said, bless you, APG, even though I didn't hear you sneeze. I don't know, maybe you did, maybe you didn't. So, here's our folio for our second envelope. And I made it before I made the pocket parts. So, I'm a little off size on this one, which I'll think I trim it up, but I may not trim it up online. On video. Like in my little envelope, it was definitely easier to collage on with the envelope opened up like this. Okay? So, now we're going to make a little tab for this one because I know I'm going to need a tab, right? And I'm just taking whatever scrap right there, and it was okay color. I mean, it wasn't horrible or nothing. So, this one is more of a thick kind of thing. And I'll try it on. I'm like, whoa, that's huge tab. That one piece is off of an envelope that I got Happy Mail in. Thank you, whoever sent it. I don't remember. And sometimes I remember what's Happy Mail and what's not. In general, I don't remember where it came from. So, cut it down, gluing it on. As you may have noticed, I did not ink that. I don't know. Ink at your own risk, I reckon. And I'm like, yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Okay. Now I'm going to do some stamping on this one because it's nice and flat. You can stamp on it. Now, you want a piece of scrap paper to cover up your window because your ink may stick to your window film. Okay, or whatever your window's made out of. I don't know what your window's made out of. And in general, you cannot see the stamping readily, not readily visible. Okay, it's like background. Well, it is background, obviously. It's the background, right? Well, maybe not obviously, but anyway. But it adds a nice, je ne sais what. And I do that a little bit. And I'm like, okay, well, that's enough of that. So, maybe if I used a different color. Well, it really doesn't matter because it's just background. So, just add a little interest in there. And then I thought, I'm going to go sew around it. So that's what I was doing with my finger, going, I'll sew around it. So I did. I used a combination of straight stitches and zigzags on the sewing machine. I did not film that part. It's kind of hard to film sewing machine, y'all. So, rounding the corners. And some of those bits I'll have to trim later. Why did I trim them? I don't know. I just remember trimming them. Evidently, they needed it. Inking, because inking is nice sometimes. See, clockwise. Sometimes counterclockwise. In general, clockwise. Okay, see, clockwise. See, when you film, you can pay attention to these kind of things. Just saying. I don't know why. It was a question of curiosity, which I put on my on my community page here on the YouTubes. About once a month, I will post a question of curiosity. Okay. People go in. It's usually a poll, and you vote. And at some time later in the month, those are usually posted towards the first of the month, first weekish maybe. And at some point, I will add up the votes. YouTube adds up the votes, and I will come up with the summary. Okay? And it's actually kind of comforting to know you're kind of average with all your friends. Okay? Just saying. Sometimes it's kind of comforting. Put some Ellie Mae on it. Clamp it. If you know, you know. All right. Setting that there to dry for a minute, looking for a bulb pen. Got a blue one out, and I find a turquoisey-ish one. And I thought, well, that's perfect. It won't be perfect. Now I'm getting out those little faux stamps from the swamp because I thought I want to use another one of those. And then I got that one. I'm like, oh, I love that one. It's a little small. It's not quite big enough. And then I'm going to get out this postage stamp. See, this postage stamp was laying there. It's of deer in the snow. It's on a red paper there. And I thought, well, I really like that. So then I got out the red mushrooms. And I was originally going to glue those two back to back. Originally. I'll change my mind. And you do kind of get to see me flip-flop through some of this treasure. I thought, yeah, that stamp's kind of small. I thought, well, no, but I really like it. And I'm like, well, I'll just tear down the red around this stamp. Okay, so it maybe won't be quite so prominent. Because the stamp is going to be on the charm. And originally, you know, the back-to-back mushrooms was going to be the dangly bit too. Originally. Removing Ellie. All right, picking out a paper doll. And I, oh, that girl could sit on that stamp. And I thought, no, I didn't like that. I didn't like that. I liked her. I thought, I like that one. She doesn't come in very many packages. You know, I love my paper dolls. And I came across that young man, and I thought, oh, I like him. And I tried that other one on. I thought, no, I like this feller. My husband says I use this feller a lot. And I'm like, well, okay, because I like him. You know, sometimes when you're flipping through your stuff, some things are like, yes, that's for me. And other things are like, no. I don't know. Can't explain it. That's when I decided I wasn't going to use those mushrooms on the dangle because I thought, Now I'm picking out a red bulb pen because, you know, we're bringing out the red. Try to draw the eye up with the red from the bottom to the top. So, picking out our quote chip. Now, at first I was going to go with the round one. Then I found a rectangular one. I thought, oh, I like that one. That one's perfect. So here we are, poking our hole. Oh, we had to, when we put the glue on there to close the pocket up, I had to use the LMA clampets to, because the thread adds a bit of thickness and it's a little harder to adhere. So that's what that was about, inking. Inking around the mushrooms a little bit. There's a little piece I wanted just a little more of the background to show through, so I'm just trimming it out because you can do that. You buy these things, you can alter them and change them to suit your needs, okay? So there's our quote chip. Pulled the white backing off, looking for a piece of paper to glue it to. Oh, no, getting out the heavy-duty glue this time. I don't know what's up with that. Going to glue it to that piece of scrap. This way the back has interest, and it could be journaled on too, dated or whatever, okay, or not at all, because you know charms can be removed too. You don't even have to leave them on there. You can just take them off. Love that cropper doll, but man, it sure annoys me when the things get stuck in that hole every single time I use it. Gonna smash eyelet. Okay, perfect. And I think at some point I will pull the jump rings over again because I'm like, oh yeah, those jump ring. I want that jump ring because it doesn't quite tangle quite as nice without the jump ring. I mean, it tangles, just not quite as nice, in my opinion. So we're gonna blush our little feller up. Put the pink on his lip. Didn't like that, so I get out a little tan color. We'll put that on there, and I'm like, yeah, that's better. In the end, I don't think you can even tell. I thought, I want to color his jacket. So we're going to make his jacket brown. The other boy, he got green. A green color. Was it, you know, like lawn? Grass green. It wasn't grass green. Well, I guess it depends on the grass, doesn't it? I guess it does. Some grass is brown. August heat and no rain. It is brown Trees are dropping leaves. They're so dry and sad. So again, that's just a little piece of paper, scrap paper I was using to help absorb some of the moisture from the marker. And that is a pale, very pale cream color. This young man has leggings on, socks. I don't know what they are. Okay, it was way before my time. I don't know what they were, but he had them. So that's what we was coloring, and we're painting on his shoes because the shoes are weird. Little bottom ankles are weird too. Sometimes that happens with paper dolls. And I'm just, wasn't quite happy with the way his shoes was coming out. I decided to give him a red tie. So I did. And I mess around with his shoes a bit more. I'm removing, that's a water brush, and I'm just removing a little bit of the brown from the buttons on his jacket. Okay? He can, y'all. So I will dabble around his shoes, and I will add a darker brown. And at some point, I think I used a black marker, and I got them to where it's like, yeah, that's okay. I mean, it's unfortunate sometimes how some of these, because they're from original old photographs, okay? And when they made the paper doll, I don't know their exact process, but, they trimmed them out of the photograph, made die cuts to die cut them, in their big magical manufacturing thing. And sometimes they had to fake their way through some of these things because it's like a little obscured. Maybe the photo was blurry or something. That's what I'm guessing. I put it logical sometimes, so that's probably about right. Anyway, I got them to where they're like, yeah, they're okay. They look like shoes, mostly. And this is where I'm like, oh yeah, the eyelet. And then I grabbed that one that looked big enough. It's not big enough. You'll see. Well, maybe you won't see. It's a little teeny tiny editing screen here. Maybe you're watching on your big giant screen TV. Wow! Get out that homemade jump ring set thingy. There it is. Where is it? Is that it? Yeah, that's probably it. Trimming it off. And we will twist it open and put it on there. And then we put our garment pin, aka bulb pin. We'll get all those on there. Okay, layer it together just right, y'all. Yeah. And then our young man's going to go right there. Can you? I mean, this stuff is dry because, a watercolor marker takes a minute or 5. Heat gun, y'all. Yeah. Okay. I'm like, yeah, I like that. And then I looked over at my, the first one I did, and I'm like, oh, it's got a label on it. Let me just put a label over his little feet, and it will really not be anywhere near as noticeable as them just sticking out. Okay? So that's what I do. I'm like, yeah. Okay, flippy floppy time. So here's our first little fellow, and I will bake these again because they were fun and entertaining and used nice little bits of stuff. And look at that. How fun is that? You could put a paper clip on these. You could stick them in a pocket or a tuck spot or just in a Happy Meal envelope. Okay? You could glue them straight down on paper if you wanted to. Here's our second little feller. And by the time I did the photo montage, I had stamped my name on the back of it because that's what I did. Yeah. See, it opens up. This one's got a ginkgo leaf die cut inside. Here we go. Ta-da! Photo montage. I appreciate each and every one of you, especially if you've hung around this long. Bless your heart. Oh, if you want to speed the video up, depending on the device you're watching on, you may be able to find the cogs, the gears, the settings, they're all the same thing, just different names, and speed it up or slow it down, or maybe not. I don't know. Oh, what a fun little project. And see, the little tab right there works, even though it's on the folded edge. It works just fine. Okay? Just glued on one side. They're so cute. I love some. Yes, I do. I'll do them again. I said that already. I'll just say it again. I sure appreciate each and every one of you. Your comments, your shares, your likes, your subscriptions. Thanks for watching. And happy artin', y'all. I'm happy you're here.